I unfortunately have to utter the worst phrase that you can say as a reader. And I am really liking this story. There were some things that I just could not get over in this. I'm torn on this book. By the end, I just kind of felt like melancholy and just like meh. Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to today's video, where today, as you can see by the title, I unfortunately have to utter the worst phrase that you can say as a reader. I'm in a reading slump and I want to get out of it. Specifically, I want to get out of it soon. Not because my Goodreads goal says I'm like 8 books behind, but mostly because I have missed the feeling of loving and understanding stories. Now, specifically, I'm not too sure if I'm in just like a reading slump or if I'm getting genre fatigue, specifically a genre slump, because as you guys know, I've mostly been reading really heavy fiction books with some heavy thrillers, but not as much. It's mostly been like very fiction heavy, and you guys know that I was also not craving romance for the last 2 months or so, but I have found myself in a spot where I think I told you guys in a video where in the next couple of weeks I was going to be reading Remarkably Bright Creatures and then watching the movie. Well, I have decided to softy enough Remarkably Bright Creatures. I believe it was 38% that I softy enoughed it. I plan on coming back to it later. Maybe I'll get to it later this month, but I'm not too sure if I'm ready to dive into it right now because I have just not been feeling connected with the characters. The only person or specifically character that I feel connected into that book is Marcellus. And I know I should feel something for Tova. I know I should feel something for Cameron, but I'm not feeling anything. And also, you guys know I have been slowly, and I mean slowly, making my way through 11/22/63. I'm kind of taking my time on that one, and that one's kind of like out of the picture pretty much, but that one's another fiction one where I'm just like, am I connecting with the story? I don't know. I think I need to read a little bit more, obviously, to know if I truly am connected with 11/22/63. But the point is, I'm in a reading/genre stump, or slump specifically, and I want to get out of it. It's not the first time that I've been in reading slumps before, and usually a lot of tips and tricks that I have 5 main tips and tricks that I have, which is reread a favorite book or series, read a mindless or fast-paced book, listen to an audiobook, step out of your comfort zone, and or read a favorite author or continue a series. Now, the one that I'm thinking about starting with, we're not going to go in that order specifically, but there is one book that I have been reading that has been keeping my attention, and that book would be King of Envy by Anna Huang. I am maybe about 2/3 of the way into the book, I would say. If you look right there, this right here is the beginning. This right here is near the end. I'd say maybe about 2/3 in, I would say. And I'm actually holding the attention of this story. And also, one that I'm not too sure if I'm going to get to in this video is listening to an audiobook, because also I have been listening to audiobooks so much. And that is how I've mostly been consuming a lot of things, because I travel a lot. I work at a desk job and such, so I'm not able to actually physically read the words on the page. But I just find myself in a little bit of fatigue with that, and with this one I'm just straight up reading it. So in this one, it would fall under the category of reading a favorite author or continuing a series. It actually kind of ticks off both boxes because Anna is one of my favorite romance authors, and she is one of the main authors that got me into contemporary romance in the first place. And this obviously continues a series because it is the 5th book in the Kings of Sin. I just had to look in the corner and such, but it's the 5th book in the Kings of Sin series and such. And I really am liking it. Like I said, I found myself not really enjoying romances that much because some of them had felt a little bit too realistic, and also some of them have just felt like not my cup of tea and such. And I thought I was actually falling out of love with Anna's writing because I would always try and pick up her books, couldn't do it, picked up another book of hers, could not do it at the time. But I think when it comes to this, I think I just need to figure out the right time to read her books and just like get into a groove, honestly. And I felt that with this one, King of Envy. So this is the first book book that we're going to try and get through. I'm not too sure which book I'm going to pick up next. I'm thinking maybe another romance, but I'm also thinking a thriller that can check off the mindless or fast-paced book, because I have a couple of thrillers down here along with a thriller from my April TBR that I really want to read. I don't know if it's fast-paced, but I mean, most thrillers are fast-paced, so you would think that I would get a fast-paced book out of Razorblade Tears, but I'm not too sure because I've seen a lot of stuff about Razorblade Tears, but I've also kind of kept myself in the dark about it because I don't want to spoil myself on anything, because with thrillers you can get spoiled really, really easily because one of their main things is to keep the plot mysterious and to keep people coming to read their stuff. But anyways, a little bit of like a thing of where I'm at in King of Envy. I'm on page 310, which I believe there is 530 pages. I can't remember off the top of my head and such, but we're on chapter 33 in Ayana's point of view. And also I've been reading this as well too for a little let's start, continue, and finish a series. And more than likely when this video goes up, the short for this one will be up as well too. So make sure you go check that out so you can get a little bit more of like a detail on detail of what exactly I am reading with this, because I want to kind of bring that back but in short form content, because the long form of that series doesn't perform the best on YouTube, unfortunately. So maybe if I condemn it down to like a shorter thing, it'll perform a lot better. But anyways, a little bit of this book. I'm really, really liking it. I always find myself being like giggling and kicking my feet whenever Ayana and Volk are talking to each other as well. It is very much one of those things where like, I don't know if I would ever date Volk in real life because honestly men like him kind of scare me, but also I'm at that point where I'm like, yes, Ayana, get it girl, but I will not personally date a Volk. But I do like his character. I like his torturedness. I like that we've gotten to see more of where he came from, why he is the way that he is, why he doesn't talk that much either as well, and also the mystery aspect of this and figuring out like what's going on with Volk's past and why it's coming into Ayana's as well too, and why it's coming like to face her as well, has been something that has been one of my favorite of the mystery plots in her books. And I think I'm trying to remember what some of her other mystery plots have also been, like subplots have been in her books. The one that I can think of off the top of my head that also involved a morally gray man is with Christian Harper and Stella Stalker. But that one kind of gave me a little bit of heebie-jeebies. This one's not giving me too much heebie-jeebies, which I don't know what to think about that, but you know, it's okay. And if I were to rate it right now, it's sitting comfortably between the 4 and the 4.5 range. I don't know if it could be a 5-star, maybe honestly, but I'm not too sure if I'm that attached to the characters, but we are getting good vibes from this. So I'm going to stop yapping to you guys and I'm going to take you guys along with me for reading King of Envy. Okay, friends, so as you guys just saw, I read a little bit more of King of Envy by Anna Huang. I have now made it to page 390, which is chapter 41. I have about this much of the book left, which I think I have less than 150 pages. So I'm going to try and knock this out as much as I possibly can. I know I'm doing this a little bit different, like this is kind of going to be a little bit of a short update, and then I'll come back with like my final thoughts, because more than likely I will finish this book tonight on my like Instagram and TikTok as well for the Let's Start, Continue, and Finish a series as well. And I am really, really liking this story. I am liking Volk and Ayana. I don't know if I like them as much as like Vivian and Dante, because I thought Vivian and Dante's chemistry was so good, but so is Ayana and Volk's as well. But something's also missing for me when it comes to their chemistry, and I'm pretty sure I stopped. Yeah, I definitely stopped on the elevator scene, if you guys know what that scene is within the book. So I'm about to read into that scene specifically. I was like, when I first heard of the elevator scene, I was like, is there people gonna be in here? And it's like, no, thank God nobody is in the thing because it is a private elevator, which is nice. But maybe the chemistry will boot up for me, but I'm worried something bad is gonna happen regarding like the brotherhood when it comes to Volk and such, and this is very kind of out of context, so you won't know what I'm talking about unless you've read the book, so I don't really consider that a spoiler, but I don't know. I just feel like something bad is gonna happen between this point and the epilogue, because there's always bound to be an epilogue within these types of books, you know? But I really am liking it, so I'm gonna go finish reading this over on my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube shorts, and then I will come back to here with my final thoughts on the matter. Guys, remember when I said that we didn't need to worry about the brotherhood anymore, or at least it seems like we didn't need to? We needed to worry. I am a little bit more into King of Envy. I was going to finish it last night, but there was just so much happening that I only read maybe like one chapter, honestly. But now I'm on page 436, chapter 46. I have less than 100 pages left, I would say. I don't really want to do the math right now, but I had a feeling that we were not quite done with the brotherhood and such, and I was completely right. Spoilers are going to be coming up ahead, so make sure you skip it. You can go to the time code that I have on the screen right here where I am pointing. They kidnapped Ayana. Well, at least I think that they kidnapped Ayana, at least. You had the typical thing of like feeling a needle prick in her neck, and then she started losing feeling in her limbs because, of course, they were going to try and drag Ayana into Volk's business and things like that because it just makes a whole lot of sense, honestly. And am I pissed off? No, I'm not. A little, but it makes sense for the story. And I will say, I think I know what this rating's gonna be, but of course I need to finish the book before I have the rating, because there have been some things, and I'll talk about it a little bit more, but there have been some things that I have kind of not been liking, but also at the same time have, and I'll discuss them a little bit later when I go into my final thoughts, honestly. But I am almost done with the book. I have less than 100 pages left, as you can see right there. I've also like dog-eared a couple more pages because some lines really just kind of stuck out to me along that lines as well. And I have a feeling that oh, she's so cute. I decided to lay next to Kona today because she's just kind of been in a little bit of a chilling mood and things like that. Her tummy has also not been feeling the greatest, so I've been checking up on her and make sure that she's doing good and such. But anyways, I'm going to continue on reading. I'm actually going to switch to recording on my phone so that way I can finish up the reel for the Let's Start, Continue, and Finish a Series, and I will come back to this camera when I have my final updates on the book itself. I've officially finished reading King of Envy by Anna Huang, and I am not gonna lie, I kind of know how I feel about this, but not completely. Let me kind of walk you through a little bit of what I'm thinking and such. Is this the first romance I've picked up in a hot minute? Yes. Is this the first romance where I actually genuinely liked most of the concepts and the things in here? Also, yes. Is it a 5-star by any means necessary? No, it's not a 5-star by any means necessary. I think I know what I'm going to rate this as, but I'm going to wait a little bit until the end to kind of like give you my thoughts before I give you like a final rating on this. So starting out specifically with the structure of King of Envy, the structure was very interesting. It was very much a slow burn type of like romance, which, you know, I don't mind a slow burn. I honestly think sometimes it works better depending on the couple and things like that. But it was very much something that did keep my attention. And I will say, I don't think Ayana and Volk's romance was my favorite plot within this story. And what I mean by that specifically is that the mystery aspect that we had surrounding Volk and the Brotherhood was much more compelling to me as a reader than their actual romance itself. I did think that they were good together. I thought that they were great together. But there were also some points where I couldn't really quite get out of my head of being like, you're never gonna date a guy like this, Sam. Why do you like this? But I'm at that capacity where I know that like Volk is perfect for Ayana. Like I can be like, get it, girl. Like hell fucking yeah, you do what you want with your mans, honestly. Like go get your mans. I love it. But also at the same time, there were some things that I just could not get over in this. Like specifically, there was one scene specifically near the end. I can't even read it to you because it is a little bit of a spicy scene. But basically it was something that was describing them arriving at the same time, essentially. But the way that he described it was just, it kind of took me out of the moment, and I did not know how to feel about that. But kind of just like starting from the beginning, the setup was very interesting. It was cool to kind of learn a little bit about who Volk was, who Ayana is as well too, because we get to see them like with like sprinklings within like Kings of Sin, like specifically in King of Greed and King of Sloth is when we really kind of get introduced to them. But I wasn't too sure how I was going to connect to these characters, because something that I do as well is I don't really put expectations onto Anna's books, because I never know if I will like them, if I won't like them, honestly. But I will say, out of all of her books, Kings of Sin has definitely been the ones that I have enjoyed most of the couples from all of the books that were in this series, if that makes any sense. And then as we kept going on further, there was a lot more tension. There was a lot more kind of like at stake. Specifically, the way that it was like kind of labeled out with like what was at stake, it made sense for the two of them to come together in the end, especially within like the kind of final conflict that we had related to the mystery aspect of what's going on with Volk and the Brotherhood as well. And I thought that was done very well, but also at the same time, I thought it was very rushed, specifically when we got the reveals and the ending as well. I kind of wished we got just a little bit more tension kind of dragged out when it came to that plot and that aspect of things. But I get why she didn't want to drag it out too much, because most people come for the romance, and don't get me wrong, I loved the romance. I thought it was great, but I know that a lot of people like me, or some people, they can sometimes not always get attached to the romance, but it was always kind of nice to kind of like see this little mystery aspect within like Volk, and also learning about who he is as well too, and learning about like them two together as a couple, and understanding who they can be individually, but also together, and how they help each other out as well. And I'm trying to say that I liked it, but also there were some things that I definitely did not quite get off the top of my head, but like it's okay, honestly. And I think my final rating for this is going to be a 4.25. I know it's very specific. Please don't come for me in the comments, but when looking at the Kings of Sin as a whole, and also looking at Anna's couples as a whole, like specifically, the couples that I was kind of like relaying to and thinking of in where I think their chemistry, their relationship, their friendship, their things like that, that I was kind of like teetering between, was Vivian and Dante, and Asher and Scarlett. I loved Vivian and Dante's romance. It was great. It was wonderful. But I also liked Scarlett and Asher's romance. But I do feel like if I'm going to slice the three couples in there together, it is more than likely going to be Dante and Vivian, Volk and Ayana, and then Asher and Scarlett, because I did think that this was a lot better than The Striker, in my opinion, because that one was a little bit too long, but this one had a reason to be long, and I understand why it had to be long in the first place, because Volk's a morally gray character. You need to kind of understand exactly why he is the way that he is and learn his backstory and learn why exactly he is morally gray in the first place. I feel like I'm like talking around in circles, but I hope you guys get what I mean by that. But overall, what I'm trying to say is this is a 4.25. It definitely held my attention, which I'm very, very grateful for, but that is going to be the first book that we are finishing in this vlog. And I have my stack of my May TBR right here. Like, I have Broken Country, Sounds Like Love, Funny Story, Razorblade Tears, and The Berry Pickers. I think I'm gonna wait for The Berry Pickers and Broken Country later, because those are fiction books, and I'm not really in a fiction mood right now because I am very much in a fatigue of some kind and such, you know. What I'm thinking, how many of these have I read? I have read Emily Henry in the past and have typically loved her stuff, and I tried to read Ashley Poston, I think it's Poston. I've tried to read Ashley Poston in the past, like specifically with, I believe it was The 7-Year Slip, whatever that cover was. I tried to read that. Didn't really work out that well, unfortunately. But one of the tips that we did go through was read a favorite author or continue a series. I think one of the other tips and tricks that I'm going to use is reading a mindless or fast-paced book. And usually for me, what I constitute as mindless and fast-paced is thrillers and mysteries. And we have one thriller on my May TBR that I have been seeing so many people talking about, and I'm just like, I have to get it. I was kind of like pressured into getting it as well too. Or no, I was pressured into getting another thing by the same author, but it is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. From what I remember about the premise of this one, it basically follows two dads, a black and white father with two dead sons, and a quest for revenge and redemption. And pretty much this dude, he has been like 15 years out of prison, or 15 years out of jail. And then as he's a black man, obviously. The cops come to his door. He's obviously very worried, but he gets the news that he wasn't expecting. He is told that his son and his husband were murdered and such, so they were looking into what was happening. And then the dad, along with, what is his name? And such. It was Isaiah. Yeah, it was Isaiah and Derek were the ones that got murdered. And then Buddy Lee is Derek's dad. And Isaiah's dad, which is Ike and Buddy, pretty much, they get connected and they decide to go on a quest to figure out who killed their sons, because they had a very kind of strained relationship with their sons, I would say, because, you know, neither one of the dads approved of the relationship, because, you know, it's the husbands were like gay, obviously, and just like having kind of a hard time with it, but also like the added aspect of like loving. I'm trying to figure out how to word this in a proper way, but like from what I'm thinking here is like, we each have our own relationships with our parents. Some people have good relationships, some people have bad. Some people very much have those like morally gray relationships where you're just like don't know where you stand with your parents that much. And in this one, they didn't have good relationships with their dads, but when they find out that their sons got murdered, the dads decide that they need to take matters into their own hands, because while they did not approve or really understand their sons being gay, they love their sons. But I don't know. I think that's what it's going to be. I think I'm also going to implement the use of audiobooking as well too, potentially, because this is one where I can definitely go between the two and like be like perfectly fine, you know? So yeah, the next book I'm going to pick up later today is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. And then I will give you a little bit of a check-in of where I am at in Razorblade Tears. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, friends, I have officially made it to chapter 25, page 153 of Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I'm torn on this book. There's something about it where there are elements that I am liking and some elements that are kind of pissing me off, but I think that's what it's meant to be doing and such, and specifically like evoking different conversations that like need to be had regarding a lot of these topics. So I feel like I didn't really give like a good description at the beginning of the book, and pretty much what this follows is it follows two. Oh, my parents are playing with my dog upstairs. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but basically this follows two ex-convicts named Ike and Buddy Lee. Their sons were together and married, and they did not get along with their sons very well, but then after a couple months of them being wedded, they end up dead. They end up murdered. The police start their investigation, and they're not really getting any leads from like anywhere and such, and Ike and Buddy Lee, they are ex-cons, and even though they didn't have good relationships with their sons, they are bound determined to figure out who killed their sons. And it really kind of gives you kind of like a look into between like the right and wrong type of thing, whether or not you would actually find the person who killed your kid and actually try and figure out what the hell is happening. And from where we've gotten into the book so far, we've gotten a little bit more deep into the plot. That's not really labeled on the back, but pretty much they are into their quest a little bit. They have been going to different places that their sons have frequented to kind of understand exactly why they might have been murdered and killed in the first place. They found the people who are responsible, but they don't know the reasoning why they got killed in the first place. This book is told in, I believe, third person point of view. So we get Ike, we get Buddy, and we also get another character, or specifically another group of characters that are related to Isaiah and Derek, who were the sons of Ike and Buddy Lee. And we get a little bit of their point of view, and we get to understand a little bit of how this organization works as well. And I'm really curious as to see how exactly Isaiah and Derek got wrapped up into this and such. We've also been introduced to another character who we're kind of like on the lookout to try and find them specifically, and I really don't know what to think about this book. I think it's good. I think it is interesting. I'm liking the way that it is written, but there are some things about it where I'm just like, okay, yeah, but that's also very accurate. And you know, when you read kind of like a book that talks about like Stephen King does a really good example of this, like when he is, I believe it's in It, but it's more so portrayed in like It, Welcome to Derry, with like how racism plays into different things and how racism and like homophobia and things like that kind of play into people's like humanity and such, because people will just hate people for who they want to love, you know. And as a queer person myself, I'm not really triggered. I'm just annoyed at some of the connotations that a lot of the characters are feeling about gay people, because there's a lot of homophobia in this. A lot of homophobia that is very much a trigger, that I will say, but I think on the back it is really kind of like self-explanatory, honestly, as to those triggers, but please look them up if you do want to get into this. I will say it is not, it's kind of mindless, but like it also is on the fairly fast pace. Like a lot of stuff has happened, but also I feel like nothing has happened at the same time. And I just feel like that like is happening a lot in thrillers that I have seen. And this was one thriller that I have seen nothing but amazing things from people, but I've also heard nothing about. I only really knew what was on the back of the book, which I think is the only thing that you really need to know if you want to go into this book. But I don't know if I'm loving it. I don't know if I'm liking it. I know for sure I'm not hating it. I think I'm very much on the neutral side of things. I don't even know what I would rate this right now because I'm only a little bit under halfway. I think my audiobook said I was like 45% into it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's in the screen right here. Obviously, you guys have been able to see it the entire time. I think think I am liking it. I'm not too sure if I'm loving it. I'm not hating it. I'm just kind of getting, I wouldn't say triggered, like I said. I'd say I'm just getting annoyed at some of the terminology and how people are talking, but also I know that that really leans into how people think of queer people and how they think of people who are homosexual as well too, and how they are very hateful at that concept, which is really stupid to me personally. I don't get why people have to be so hateful because like a woman loves another woman romantically or a man loves another man romantically. But that is a whole conversation for another time and not right now, obviously. But it's currently almost 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. I'm gonna try and finish this in this vlog, but it might bleed over into the can I finish my May TBR in 8 days, which I'm filming literally tomorrow, because I have 4 books that I have not picked up on my May TBR, and I want to get at least 3 of them read by the end of the month. I want to get at least 3 of them because Remarkably Great Creatures, I DNF'd that one, and I'm not too sure if I'm ever going to get back to that one. Right now, at least, I want to eventually, just not right now. And then I have like The Berry Pickers, Funny Story, Sounds Like Love, and Broken Country. Honestly, this vlog might bleed over into the next one, honestly, which, you know, I don't really know, to be honest with you, but if I do finish it by today or maybe tomorrow morning, then you will see it in this vlog. If I carry it over to the next vlog, you will obviously see it in the next vlog. But yeah, I am liking the narration of this so far. It's sometimes very hard to hear, especially when you hear homophobic and racist slurs as a queer Black woman, essentially, a mixed woman pretty much. But you know, it is a-okay. Like I said, I don't get triggered by things fairly easily, you know, and this isn't triggering by any means. It's just like reminding me of like, even though this is a work of fiction, people like this and the characters in this book really do exist in real life. I, however, am going to stop talking, and then I will come back to you guys when I've either made it like 70% or I have finished, like specifically talking wise, because today I don't really have too much I need to do. I am gonna try and get this done, but like also, I don't know. We shall see what I am feeling, to be honest with you. But I will come back with more thoughts on Razorblade Tears and potentially my final thoughts. I have officially finished reading Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, and I have heard so many good things about how this has changed so many people's opinion on things, and for me, I just kind of feel neutral about this book. So, kind of to start off with the rating, I think my thing and such like that is that I don't necessarily hate the book. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. It didn't feel too connected to the characters, because this is one of those thrillers where you learn a little bit more about the characters and who you're dealing with and how exactly they are going about things. And I could not be connected to the dads whatsoever. I could not be connected to Ike or Buddy Lee whatsoever, because by the end, I just kind of felt like melancholy and just like meh about the whole thing. But I didn't hate the thing, so I am going to settle on just a plain old 3-star rating. That's not a bad rating by me. It's not necessarily like the best rating in the world. It's very much in the middle, because I'm gonna put this back here so that I don't have to hold it too much and such. But pretty much what I am feeling with this is one, the connection was just not there. The only character that I really kind of felt truly kind of connected with was Ariana, who is Ike and Buddy Lee's granddaughter. And I was reading this in bed before I went to sleep last night, and I just was like, why? Just overall, why? You know, like, I knew this was probably going to end in some type of bloodshed, but the way that it ended, it just kind of felt like I was just like, I don't know. Plus, also, I will say, I don't think I was the target audience, like the target audience for this type of thriller. I do like S.A. Cosby's writing style. There were a couple of times where I wouldn't say I got triggered, but I got annoyed, and I just had to like remember to like understand that like those characters did exist, and specifically how exactly they talk about things, especially since this book is based in the South. And I, you know, a lot of people know that it's hard to be Black in the South because there's so many racist tendencies, and that needs to be kind of beaten out of our society. And just overall, I get the reasoning why Ike and Buddy Lee were so set on trying to figure out who killed Isaiah and Derek, their sons. But by the end, I was just like, was it worth it? And to them, they said that it was. But for me personally, I don't know if it was worth it. And I'm trying not to be negative here, but like, I just have so many things where I'm just like, I don't know, like maybe I would recommend this, but I would probably more recommend this to my male friends than I would like my female friends, because one, this isn't a book made for the female audience too much. I think you can get the things out of it. Like, there's definitely lessons to be learned, but I remember thinking this morning when I was talking through this with my mom before starting up the camera was, did I take any lessons from this? And I was thinking real hard, and I was like, no, I didn't really take any lessons from this. It was just a whole bunch of violence, a whole bunch of nonsense that I was just like, oh, okay, you know? But I didn't completely hate it because the pacing was good, the writing was good, I liked the way that this story was told, but the overall plot and the storyline was not good in my opinion. So that's why I think I'm just gonna settle on a 3-star, and just how I just kind of feel like that's the best kind of course of action pretty much, you know? And it is currently Tuesday, May 26th. So I'm going to officially end the Reading Slump video right here. We did pretty good, honestly. We finished King of Envy, and of course we obviously finished Razorblade Tears. And honestly, am I out of my reading slump? Yes, I think I am, honestly. And it wasn't even a reading slump. It was more like a genre slump. That's the word I'm looking for. But it was one of those things where I think I just read too much of the fiction genre, and I was like, I need to take a break from fiction. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the video. We had a 4.25 for King of Envy, and along with Razorblade Tears being a 3-star. I didn't get through all of the books that I wanted to get through during this video, but it's a-okay because, you know, life happens, things like that kind of happen, honestly. So, but it's okay, honestly. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to like and comment down below. If you don't know what to comment down below, tell me what are some of your favorite books that you like to read, or types of books that you like to read when getting out of a reading slump. If you liked me, please make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. Every Mondays, I've been changing the schedule and such, but every Monday is going to be vlogs, whether that is reading, writing, or lifestyle vlogs. Every other Wednesday is going to be bookish content, whether that is TBR content, tier rankings, list of things, just anything kind of bookish related. And then on Fridays, we obviously have Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, which we are having such a fun time over there. We've finally gotten a couple of things happening on the island as well too. I'm kind of like recording those very much like well in advance because they're coming out on a weekly basis. But I'm just having so much fun over here as well too. Please make sure to also check out my links in the description. My Instagram, TikTok, Fable, and Goodreads are down there, along with my bookshop organization, bookstore like link pretty much, where you can go on and you can order books from small town bookstores to give them a little bit of a profit to help them out. Obviously, King of Envy and Razorblade Tears are going to be linked in the description down below. So if you want to check them out, you can always check them out below as well too. I have a creator code and link that you can use to click on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed it personally because I feel my reading spark coming back and such. But anyways, again, thanks again for watching, and I truly, truly hope you guys have an amazing day, week, month, and year. See you later, friends.